With Louis, you can bring a section in his band. All right, you build your own costumes, and whatever you charge for the costumes, you make that profit. So he has 10 section leaders, for example, and each one of them run their own little business. Sell their costumes to get paid for it. They pay Louis $10 for each person. That's to pay for the band fee for the music. So if you get a big section, like most of these people did, when the section got big, they decided to form their own band. All right? And that's why I said earlier that 6 out of the top 8 bands came from this band itself. So we serve as a training ground for most of the bands that are today. Marlon from Callaloo, Curtis Eustace, Dexter Susahai, Marcus, Will Morton, and one more, I can't remember the name. But the next one, yeah, there's 6 of them. I can't remember the other guys' name. Anyone can do this. You can't sign a non-competition clause with any employee.
Yes, you can. You can sign a contract saying that way how many years you can't form another business. That's a lot of corporations do.
Yes, but there's no there's no enforcement of employer in Caravan or in this side of business. It's a small business, and people do that every single day. I can't. There's no trade secrets. Now, if there were trade secrets that's specific to Louis, then you can get them to sign it. But there's no trade secrets here. Or it's hard to define what's a trade secret. In other words, it's hard to define what Louis is teaching them. Now, if that could be defined, then yes, he can say, okay, you can't use this. But there's no such thing as definition in this case.
Did Louis expect that to happen?
Oh, it happens to everyone. Everyone.
Was he angry about it?
Oh, no, because it's expected. It's expected. Other bands experience the same thing. For example, one of the bigger bands, they lost 3 of their section leaders who have now springboarded onto another band. So it happens right through. Everyone that brings a section has an expectation to bring in their own band. So that question would be redundant.
So everyone who wants to be a section leader wants
to have their own band eventually, yes. So this all happened 5 years ago when we lost 4 important section leaders. So we had to start over and train new section leaders. To the extent today, we may be the biggest band, this Caravan. We have about 1,500. Because we have trained these people well, and believe me, some of them will leave and start their own band next year or next 2 years. It will happen. But this is what I'm saying about, in Louis' situation, he has 3 young sons who are now taking part in it, and they're helping him build mass. In the next 5-6 years, they'll take over the band the same way he took over from his father.
It's actually the Caribbean way. When you do something, you teach your sons or family and pass it on.
The springboard. Louis was a springboard for them. They learned the trade there. So when they got big enough, they formed their own band. Now, when that happened 5 years ago, as a matter of fact, we lost about 4 of them in 1 year. So we had to train new people, and it takes the time to train people to make costumes properly.
Well, I guess the sponsor's going to spend money on a band. They're looking for value for money, and getting what they pay for, or what they've been told they're going to get, is very important, because people tell you one thing and then they perform and do something totally different. And sponsors also looking for proof of what they said you were going to do.
Sponsors look for size. They look for consistency in your costumes, and they look for the quality of your costumes. Remember that the media will focus on the best bands. The best bands are not necessarily the ones that do win, because the criteria for judging a good band is different to what sponsors look for. Sponsors look for activity. They look for splendor. They look for action. And some of the bands that do win are quite small because they fit some of the judges' criteria. Caribana pays about $4,000 for first prize. All right? Let's look at the economics here. It cost about 60,000 to bring out a band this size, like 1200.
6,000?
60,000.
60,000?
Yeah. So let's do the maths here. Caribana would give us about 30,000. We raise another 10,000 in band fees. That's 40,000. That's far less than what the band would cost 20. So what do we depend on? We depend on sponsorships. And as I told you before, the criteria for judging is different to the criteria for sponsorship. So Louis is more concerned about sponsorships as opposed to winning a band and getting $4,000. I mean, he's won 18 titles. He doesn't have anything more to prove. But the economic side of it is that, hey, you have to attract sponsors. And by attracting sponsors, you have to do different criteria than what the judges expect. And he's been very successful in attracting sponsors. Quite successful.
Why is that?
Because he gives the sponsors what they want. And number one. Number two, the name Saldina is synonymous with Carnival. So the media will be always attracted to Louis to see what Louis is doing. And he's fortunate in that extent that the media is attracted to his band. So he makes sure that the banners are well in place for sponsorships. He makes sure that the t-shirts are printed with the sponsor's name. All his promotion on the website or on his brochures have the sponsors. So he caters more to sponsors and to conform to judging for the parade. Louis has become a commercial band now.
Is that what differentiates himself from other bands who
Yes.
don't get as much?
Yes,
funding?
yes.
Okay.
As much sponsorships, yes.
Oh, sponsorship. If you have the right contact, you can get over $1 million.
I was complaining they have rent to pay, they have bills to pay, generators are very expensive, trucks are expensive, drivers are expensive, rental of the speakers are very expensive. Because I know some of them don't work, so obviously they must be very lucrative.
Well, I'm playing a tribute to my father. My father played carnival-style mass in Trinidad for about 27 years. He passed away in 1985. And I said before I quit Caribana, I would play a tribute to him. So that's what I'm doing this year.